God.
All right, praise God.
The promises of God. Brothers and sisters, ladies and gentlemen,
Yes, sir.
it is said that God's word is filled with promises from our Creator to provide and deliver.
All right.
We are told that the Bible is the ultimate source for truth, and that God is faithful to fulfill all His promises.
All right. Just like it is, Pastor. Just like it is.
Furthermore, it is said that freedom from addiction,
Come on, doctor. Tell it.
deliverance from sin and evil,
Tell it.
financial provisions,
Tell it.
hope for lost and hurting families and friends,
All right. Doctor, tell it.
overcoming depression, recovering a marriage, good health and healing, being free from fear and anxiety,
All right.
strength, and many more are the blessings and gifts that God promised to provide for those who believe in Him.
All right.
But brothers and sisters, I cannot agree with all of that.
All right. Say it, doctor.
I cannot agree
With all of that.
with all of that.
Pastor.
For while God has made some promises throughout biblical history, and in particular the Old Testament, all of the promises in the Bible is not for everybody.
All right.
Did you hear what I'm saying? All of the promises of the Bible is not for everybody. Whether you are a saint or sinner, all of the promises of the Bible is not for everybody.
All right.
Some promises are for a people, like the children of Israel. Some promises are for individuals, like the one here in our text. And I guess what concerns me is that many of us are speaking of certain promises of God as if He promised them to us or you directly.
All right.
Brothers and sisters, the truth is, the fact of the matter is that some Christians are struggling with addiction and substance abuse.
All right.
Did you hear what I'm saying? And while God can deliver you out of this affliction, He has not yet.
All right.
Some Christians are still struggling, brothers and sisters, with sin. Some Christians are still struggling with financial distress.
All right.
Some Christians are still struggling with depression. Some Christians are still struggling with health issues. Some Christians are still struggling with anxiety. Some Christians are still struggling with marital problems. Some Christians are still struggling with loss of mother, loss of father, loss of a sister, loss of a brother, loss of a son, loss of a daughter. And while it is a biblical fact that God is omnipotent and all-powerful, deliverance for these, the tragedies, has not happened yet for some who truly believe.
All right. All right.
Did you hear what I'm saying? It just has not happened. It has not happened yet. Listen, David struggled with sin.
All right.
Solomon struggled with sin. Ezekiel lost his wife. Hosea's wife left him. Elijah got depressed. Peter became fearful. Timothy had stomach trouble. Epaphroditus got sick. And Paul had a thorn in his flesh. And I'm concerned that when we see or when we hear people speak of the promises of God as if he promised them to you or me directly, I'm concerned about that, because some promises are for people and some promises are for an individual. And while we can individually apply the promises to us, the promise is not to us.
All right.
Did you hear? Listen, brothers and sisters, one of the texts or one of the scriptures that people reference or refer to as the promise of God is Abraham. Yeah, it starts in Genesis chapter 12, begins at verse number 1. Now, I gotta tell you, the Bible never refers to this as a promise.
All right.
It never refers to this as a promise from God. It never refers to it as a promise of God. In fact, the Bible really don't even mention the word promise.
All right.
It's an agreement. It's a covenant. It's an agreement. It's a covenant. And so I wanted to look at this promise again because, brothers and sisters, maybe I missed something. Maybe, and please understand, children, please understand, Facebook friends, most of us are trying to navigate this life as best as we can. And it can be difficult to deal with the ups and downs, the setbacks and backsets, the sickness and unseen foray of human misfortune. It can be difficult, especially when you do not use alcohol or drugs to escape the reality of human circumstances. I know, brothers and sisters, that for me, I need the Lord. Did you hear what I'm saying? I need the Lord. I don't need promises. I need the presence. Did you hear what I'm saying? I don't need promises. I need the Lord's presence. And if he never promised me anything, I just need his presence to be there with me. Did you hear me? I don't need promises. I just need presence. I wish I had a witness here. I don't need him to promise me anything. I just need him to be there with me. Brothers and sisters, in Genesis chapter 12, the Lord tells Abraham to go to a land that I will show you. Now, the first thing, children, the first thing that I want to share with you is the Lord spoke to Abraham directly. Did you hear what I'm saying? He spoke to him directly. He did not use an intermediary. He did not use any kind of intercessor. He did not use a mediator, but the Lord spoke to Abraham directly. Brothers and sisters, can I tell you today that whatever promises that the Lord has for you as an individual, he tells you directly. I don't believe you heard me. I said whatever promises the Lord has for you as an individual, he tells you directly. I wish I had a witness here. There may be other people who confirm the promises. There may be pulpiteers, pastors, ministers. There may even be evangelists who confirm what the Lord has told you directly. But he always tells you directly. The Bible certainly will confirm what he has told you. He speaks. He speaks. He speaks directly. Number 2, whenever God speaks, he is establishing a relationship.
All right. Say that, Doctor.
I wish I could talk to somebody. Whenever God speaks, he is establishing a relationship. It's not just about promises of health, wealth, or whatever. It's about a relationship.
All right.
Listen, when God created man, he created him to have a relationship of fellowship. And so God shared with Adam that which he created without Adam. But the sin of Adam broke the fellowship. And brothers and sisters, it took Jesus to restore. It took Jesus to reconcile the relationship so that the believers of Christ could have fellowship with God. I wish I had. Listen, so whenever God speaks to humanity, he is establishing a relationship. Did you hear me? Number 3, the promise, the blessing, the agreement, the covenant may not be what you want. I wish I could talk to somebody. It may not be what you, I mean, God was not promising to deliver Abraham out of anything. Just check the record. God was not promising to deliver Abraham out of anything. I mean, listen. Get thee out of thy country and from thy kindreds and from thy father's house unto a land I will show thee. It was an exit and not an escape. All right. Did you hear what I'm saying? It was an exit, not an escape. And I will make of thee a great nation, and I will bless thee and make thy name great, and thou shalt be a blessing. And I will bless them that bless thee, and curse him that curse thee, and in thee shall all families of the earth be blessed. And the message is that if you obey God, you will be blessed. That's what they tell us. That's what they tell us. They tell us that the promises of God is based upon you obeying. I wish I could talk to you. It's based upon you obeying God. In other words, children, if you want to be blessed, obey God. That's what they tell us. But here's the kicker. We should not obey God to be blessed.
That's it.
We should obey God because of the relationship. Did you hear what I'm saying? We should not obey God to be blessed. We should obey God because of the relationship. Relationship, Reverend? Yes, relationship. What relationship, Reverend? The one that I told you about, that Jesus restored and reconciled us back to God so that we could have fellowship with Him. That relationship. We should not obey God to be blessed. We should obey God because of the relationship. And brothers and sisters, can I tell you today that you do not need to obey God in order to be blessed? All right. Did you hear what I'm saying? You do not need to obey God in order to be blessed. This world, children. This world and this time, this season is under grace. I wish I could help somebody here. It's under grace. And under grace, brothers and sisters, under grace, ladies and gentlemen, under grace, Facebook friends, God blesses everybody. Did you hear me? Just look at those idiots who tore up Capitol Hill. God bless it. Wish I could help somebody here. Under grace, under the unmerited favor of God, it is on full display that God blesses everybody. And we obey Him because of the relationship we have with Him. All right. Yes. So the question is, if we're going to obey Him because of the relationship, what did God say do?
Work it, Doctor, work it.
God said, listen to His Son.
All right. Amen.
All right.
That's what God said. Do listen to His Son. This is my beloved Son. Hear Him. Thus, brothers and sisters, to obey the commands of Christ is to obey God. Somebody better check the Gospels. To obey God is to obey the commands of Christ. So listen. The Lord told Abraham to go, and Abraham prepared to go. Now Abraham, or Abram, did not need to go. I wish I could tell somebody. God told him to go, but Abraham did not need. He did not need to go. But Abraham had to go. Because of the relationship God established with him when He spoke to him. Listen, the Lord promised. Can I say promise? The Lord promised Abraham, number one, land. Number two, He promised him a great nation. Number three, He promised to bless him, but the blessing is not specific. Because one man's blessing may be another man's, well, you understand. Number four, He promised to make Abraham a great nation. Number five, He promised that Abraham would be a blessing. And again, it is not descriptive of what kind of blessing Abraham would be. Number six, He promised to bless those who blessed Abraham and curse those who cursed Abraham. Number seven, in Abraham, God promised that all the families of the earth would be blessed. So now, children, we got land. We got notoriety. We got the father of many nations. And we got blessings. The land was Canaan. The notoriety has to do with the legacy and is tied to Abraham being the father of many nations, which means, children, that most nations can trace their roots back to Abraham, which means Abraham had children.
Come on, doctor.
He had children. 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 He had lots of children. He had lots of children, lots of grandchildren, lots of great-grandchildren, lots of children. And while Abraham had lots of land that God gave to him, Abraham was not the only one in the land. Abraham's family was not the only family living in the land of Canaan. And when the land of Canaan had a famine, Abraham would leave Canaan and go to Egypt. Brothers and sisters, most people in the 21st century would not want what God promised Abraham. I mean, who wants children in their old age? Are y'all gonna talk to me? Who wants the land that God gave to Abraham now comes with property tax? Did you hear me? And the property tax is without a house to live in. The blessings really depend upon who you ask. Did you hear me? Notoriety and fame are always laced with drugs, alcohol, and bankruptcy. Are you sure? Are you sure that you want what God promised? Are you think before you answer? Are you sure that you really want what God promised Abraham? And so, while there are promises that God gives to people, and there are promises that God gives to individuals. When I thought about and I asked myself the question, why do all of these people who talk about the promises of God, why do they always go to the Old Testament? Did you hear what I'm saying? When the Old Testament is the Old Covenant, there is a New Testament, which means there is a new agreement. Did you hear what I'm saying? The Old Testament was for our learning. I wish I had the Old Testament was our schoolmaster to bring us to Christ. Did you hear what I'm saying? And the reason why we must stand upon the New Testament and the promises of Jesus is because the new covenant has been signed in the blood of the Lamb. I wish I had a witness here. And I believe you now when I tell you what, there's a promise in the New Testament that nobody talk about. Did you hear what I'm saying? And the reason why nobody talks about it is because they don't put money in your pocket. I wish I had a witness here. The reason why Nobody talk about it because it won't give you a brand new house. Did you hear what I'm saying? The reason why nobody talks about it is because it won't give you a Mercedes Benz. Did you hear what I'm saying? Nevertheless, it is a fulfilling promise. Did you hear what I'm saying? A promise that God spoke of in the Old Testament, but manifested itself in the New. Did you hear what I'm saying? That promise is the Messiah. Did you hear what I'm saying? It's Jesus, Mary's baby, and Joseph's stepson. I wish I had somebody here. And when Jesus went back to his heavenly Father, I heard the angels on God that God said, now, said, why do you stand here gazing the same way you see him, Lord? He's coming. He's coming. He's coming back. I wish I had somebody here. I don't know about you, but some black morning when this life is over, I'll see Jesus who died for me. I'll say, Lord, who set me free. I'll see the one that saved my soul. I'll say, Lord, who made me whole. Is there anybody here looking forward to Jesus coming back? I said, is there anybody here looking forward to Jesus coming back? Is there anybody looking forward to Jesus coming back? If you're looking forward, go ahead and clap back. If you're looking forward, tell somebody, I'm looking forward to Jesus coming back. I'm looking forward. And you're all right. And you're all right. And you're say yes, say yes, yes. He's coming back. He's coming back. He's coming back. The reason I'm looking forward to it is because he's going to change my mortal body into immortal. The reason I'm looking forward is that he's going to make me brand new. The reason I'm looking forward, the troubles of this world will no longer be on my mind. Talk to me. I'm looking. Yes, I'm looking forward to Jesus coming back. The doors of the church is open.